Why, hello, everybody. This is Miss Janice. How are you doing today? I know you see where we are, but I really need to let you know that I'm excited about where we are. And I'm reading, let me put my glasses on again. As I was reading a little bit earlier, it says, I'm ready for the course challenge. And I know school has started. Some of you are going, oh no, I don't know this, I don't know that. And it's okay. I wanted to introduce some of you so let me do F11. This is how you get everything else gone except for where you're working at. Okay. So I wanted, and this is considered your desktop right here. So I wanted to get a lot of you familiar with where your child can go to at the grade level that they are. They can do reading, writing, math, like English, science. There's a lot of activities for your youth or children out there. But this one here gets you to the point. Now, I see, and as you probably can see too, that it says 30 questions, 30 to 45 minutes. Well, when I'm going over the questions the first time or the first few times, I like to explain that you just take your time because we're going over it together. And I ask you questions like, do you think this is, or which one would you choose? I'm laughing because one of my nephews and I were doing the course challenge for ninth grade and algebra and like that. And so we were doing it, and it was just so funny because I was like, "Are you sure you want to do it? You sure you want to pick that one?" And he was like, "Oh, okay, hold on." That's why I was laughing. Okay, so getting back to right now, I really want you to understand that it's okay to go over the 30 or the 45 or the hour or the hour and a half or day, or days. It's okay. And the reason I'm telling you it's okay is the first time you go through the course challenge, we're going to push, let's go. You're going to be excited because if you look like kind of in the corner here, right here, you'll see that I only did 9%. I figure I might as well do the course challenge with people as I'm talking to them. And this is what I do when I'm with the one-on-ones. I do one-on-ones with young people, depending on what age, what grade they're in. That's the grade that I do sometimes. Usually what I do is like I'm doing a creative writing class. I'm going over math. Y'all seen some of my other videos. If not, I'm at Ms. MZJANIS space O on YouTube and Facebook. Okay. And what you'll see that in the videos that I put it out there, that they're like higher level, and then I just break it down. So I do like college courses, and I'm teaching college or high school level courses to little people. You've probably seen my one video where I was tutoring, and it was like a 5-year old at the let's see, at the board, and they were explaining algebra to their parent. Yeah, 5 years old. And so when we're in class and we're doing activities, we are finding out that the children notice stuff if they don't have to write it down. And then I teach them the writing down part later. So I'm finding out, in essence, I'm finding out how intelligent your children are, and I'm finding out the way that they learn first before I really have them writing anything. And I'm finding that works the best. I tried it the other way with the writing already involved, and because some children don't like their handwriting, some children don't like writing, period. Some children are good or book smart, or they can read, and up here they got it all going on. But when it comes to translating it and putting it on paper, they're not really, and it's okay because that's why, or one of the reasons why I do it. I call it sight math, sight reading. I make the sounds. We do the alphabet sounds before we do reading and stuff like that. So I'm finding out again that these things are going together. And I like the fact that they're going together. But if you'll notice, like I said, over here, when you do the course challenge, you'll notice it says do 30 problems. And I already started the course challenge. You can see did 9%. But what I chose to do is I chose to start over, and this is just the third grade. This is the third grade, and they're already teaching them geometry. They teach the geometry in kindergarten. If you look at Khan Academy on your Khan Academy Kids on your phone or like that, okay? And I guess I could have done it on my tablet, but I like working from my computer, my tablet, my laptop, just all over the place at the drums. Okay, so if you look real close, now let me lean forward. Okay, now if you look real close, this is what is the length of the acorn? Okay, I know I'm looking up like, your eyeballs are staring at me. Okay, let me stop. Okay, so then it deals with centimeters. And before I usually would teach that, I would teach how to convert, but this is a looking problem. This is like 6 centimeters. Okay, I mean they made it so it's not hard that you can just figure it out. Because if they would said how many inches, then you would have said, and it had INCH or IN or whatever that they would put there, and it would be 6 inches like that. Okay, so let's see if we're correct. Okay, let's write a 6. And usually when I'm working with your child, I'll ask them what it is. I won't even explain none of the stuff that I just said to you. I said, oh, they have what is that called? They're in the third grade. It's an acorn. Oh, fantastic. So you already know the word acorn. And what does LENGTH read? And they'll say length, or they'll say ling, or length, or length, or, I mean, they'll try to figure it out if they don't know it. Okay, so it says Lynn. Okay, so then what I do is I usually say, are you sure? Like they'll say yes. Okay, is that your final answer? Because I'm the one that's going to be doing the clicking today. And I'll click it and it said, nice work. So we give them a virtual high five. Okay, with sound effects. Okay, now that's how we start going. Okay, so then it says next problem or next question. Okay, what time is it? And then so what I'm doing here is I'm actually going over the course challenge with the individual. And then as I go over the course challenge, if they get it wrong, it just so happens if they just so happen to get it wrong. Like this says, what time is it? The time is blah, blah. So it goes, I'm waiting. Okay, so we're going to put an 8 here. And 30 here. Just in case you said 8:30, you'll get to see if you said it right. But sometimes young people don't really know the time. So when we're teaching math or multiplication, it doesn't matter how old you are. You get to learn multiplication because in every composition book there is I call it a division correction table. They call it a multiplication graph or multiplication table like that. And I say a division answer sheet, division correction table, because in order to multiply, to learn multiplication, you at the same time, like in the background or the back of your mind, learn how to divide, and then vice versa. When it comes to division, vice versa, you got to know how to multiply in order to divide, and you got to know how to divide in order to multiply. So that's how you correct one or the other. Okay. All right. So when we get to the not the analog, excuse me, not the digital, but this type of clock, which is the analog, which has hands, we start multiplication, and we go over the ones one day, the twos another day, the threes another day, fours, the fives, the six, seven, eight, nine, 10. When we get to the fives, that's when we start talking about time. Okay, you guys, we're not doing the regular clock. You're just gonna have to keep working with the visual, the digital until you learn how to multiply by 5. And they were like, how come? And I say the big hand represents the 5 timetables to up to 12. And they was like, really? And then you just show them on the graph: 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 7, like that. So you keep counting, okay? All right, so we got 8:30, I believe. Let's check, make sure. So I got to put my glasses down here in order to see that I really wrote 8:30. Okay, if it goes bing, we get all to the sum, or fantabulous, or whatever word I feel like saying. Virtual high five, guy. Virtual high five, young lady. Okay. Oh, you forgot the sound effects. Okay, let's go to the next question. Now it says, which is the length of the mouse? And so it starts off here and then it goes to here. And so is it 4 inches? Oh, it's IN instead of the whole. So remember the other one was centimeters, and then this is inches or yards, like that. Okay. So, and it says, come on. See, now this right here seems like it's going to be an easy course challenge, but as you go through the course challenge, you go through an example of every type of math that you're going to be introduced to. Okay. And we're not going over anything else. See, look at this right here. Okay, so let's start sitting up. There you go. Take the glasses off. Okay, so 3 plus 37. And one of the things that you have to remember when it comes to math is you have to read, or remember to read, math out loud. If you read math out loud, instead of looking at it and trying to, plus or subtract, or, getting the symbols wrong, because that's another thing. Once you start math, just like when you start reading, you go over the alphabet sound songs. When you start math, and whatever grade you're in, you go over the symbols for that type of math. Like if you're going to be doing algebra, you're going to go over the greater than, the less than, or you go, because it's what does it says? What did it says? Like it's in sentence form. Like this right here is kind of in sentence form, but it's not written with words. It says 3 plus 37, 3 plus 37 equals 3 plus 7 plus 30. See, because if you read it out loud, then it kind of makes a little more sense, okay? So let's put the 7 there. And then, which equals 3 plus 7 plus 30, which equals 10, because 3 plus 7, because that's what you do, the parentheses first. So, and the acronym for math is do the parentheses first. And whatever. See, this is third grade, but this is really algebra. This is like the first version of algebra that you're going to get. Okay? You do the parentheses first. Then you do the multiplication, divide, add, and subtract. There's one more in there, but we're not to it yet. But you got to remember that you do the parentheses first. So to make this or break this problem down, they are doing it as if you're doing algebra, one step in algebra. And usually when I teach the little ones and the high school students at the same time, I always tell them that one of the reasons when we get to algebra, we go, oh no, algebra, and you haven't even done it yet. It's because of the steps, the process that it takes to do algebra. Like right now, you're in your course challenge for third grade. So they switched it around on you. They said 30. Now you know right away that 37 and 3 equals 40. Okay? Because 37, 38, 39, 40. See? Okay. So you know that 37 and 3 equals 40. But what they're not telling you is that let's do it the algebraic way. Okay? So you got 10, because you did the parentheses first. But see, they're not telling you to do that. This is their way of reminding you that in the third grade, you're going to start learning how to do algebra. See, third grade. And this is why I like Khan Academy. Khan Academy gives you this opportunity to go forward in your learning. Like, for example, if your child is above and beyond her class or his class already, then if you go to Khan Academy, they're doing the course challenge first to see what they remember from their grade level. And this, because this is a course challenge, that means that they learned this in the second grade. Okay, so 10 and 30 equals 40. Hmm. I might need a new battery for my. Looks like I'm gonna have to be done because my keyboard is not typing unless I accidentally turned it off. Oh, I accidentally turned it off. Okay, and then we're gonna check. Okay, so as we're going on, we're gonna go to the next one now, and it's telling you that you're doing great work. Okay, which unit will probably be used to measure how long a pencil is? Would it be inches or feet? Now, this one right here, now you have to remember that in the third grade, your little one is expected to learn how to read already, and you're not supposed to be over their shoulder helping them. So they're supposed to do this course challenge by themselves. Okay, so that's why I take the time to do the course challenge with young people, and it doesn't matter what grade they're in. Because if they're in if they're in the kindergarten, the first grade, the second grade, or the third grade, when it talks about units, I explain what a unit is. When it talks about measure and how long and a pencil, feet is uh, like 12 inches equals a foot. And then 36 inches equals 3 feet, like that. So that teaches you multiplication because 3 times 12 is 36. And then you break it down a little bit further. You don't want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 5 to 6 and 7 to 8 to 9, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. So you don't want to always count. So by the time you get to the third grade, or by the time your little one, your child gets to the third grade, they should already be multiplying, dividing, adding and subtracting. And if they're not, that's an opportunity to have them call Miss Janice, or you call Miss Janice, 505-695, not call or text her, 505-695-2647, because I can help your child catch up. Okay, once you get in contact with me, I help your child catch up, and it's the easiest time in the world. Like right now we're doing, because I believe that reading, writing, and math goes together. When I'm doing reading problems with say somebody, say my English class, and they'll say, or the story that we're learning about, we have to answer questions: who, what, when, where, why, and how, because that teaches you how to write books, that teaches you how to do book reports, that teaches you how to just plain old write. Who is it talking about? What are they talking about? How did they get to point A to point B, or any other how questions? Okay, how much, how long, how often? Okay, all right. So when we get to that part, that's what I'm telling you, that I usually help with every area, that even if it's in reading, we eventually get back to math. Like when the young man, he wasn't young, I mean, he's not young, he's deceased, Thomas Edison, created, or when Booker T. Washington did what he did, and if it has a date, it'll say like something. He started this project in 1877, and then you want to know how long it was when he invented the phonograph. So you take away 1877 from 2020, and it's 140 something years. Okay, so it's like all of this goes together. So it's the same or equal to what I'm doing right here. You have to remember that inches and feet, and you have to remember which one is bigger, the inches or the feet. Okay, or how to make it the same, or how to convert inches into feet and vice versa. The same way I told you, it was good to do that with centimeters and inches. Okay, all right. So, and again, if you have any questions, please text your questions to me, 505-695-2647. Okay. So it is which unit would probably be used to measure how long a pencil is. So let's see if it's A or not. Now, normally, if someone else is here, remember, I would ask them, and then we still click. And the reason we still click anyway is because if we ever get any wrong, then we can say, way to go, see a step-by-step solution, or say, would you like to try again? Da, 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 da. Okay, so next question. Okay, so this is good head math, sight math. You can do this in your head, or you can literally write it down. And the reason they'd like you to write stuff down, to solve problems, etc., is so that you can get used to writing and reading. And when it comes to math, 42 and 42 equals, and you put in the answer. Now, one of the ways that you can find out whether this is the answer or not is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Because each one of these, it tells you, like I believe in the first grade, that each one of these rows equals 10 without counting it. So let's count it anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. There's the 80 right there because you're going from the ones over one, it's the tens, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. And then you count the ones, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 84. And way to go, way to go. Virtual high five with sound effects. Okay. Okay, so Bree is reading a book, and she read 12 pages in the car, 16 pages in the park, and then 68 pages at home. How many pages did Bree read? So they also give you, I have a pen here. Let me see if it'll let me. Uh-oh. Sorry about that. So what you have to do is you have to add 12, 16, 68. Now, normally, not normally, but soon they're going to ask you the average. Like, in an average, what how many pages were read that at that sitting, at home, in the car, or like that? How many, what's the average of these three numbers? And so when you start talking about average, you add it the same. Let me see. Will it let me squiggly? I already got the black. I'm not going to use the pen because sometimes, oh, I'm going to try to use the pen. Okay, let's start here. 68. I'm so sorry. But I'm left-handed, so that I have to turn the screen in a way that I can write. Okay, hold on. Let's see what it does here. 68, 16, 12, Oh my goodness. Let's erase that. Okay, if we use the 68, you don't have to write it in the order that it is. Of course, you know that. 16. I'm using a mouse this time. 12. Now this is just accents direct, so you're gonna already get the answer. So 8 and 8 is 16. Well, 8 and 6 is 14, and 2 more is 16. And then you carry the 1. 6 and 1, 2, 3 is 9, so it's 96. So we're going to write 96 in here. Okay, now we got the answer. Now let's average this. And what the next step is, you count 1, 2, 3, and divide 3 into 96 to get the average. That's coming, so I'm teaching you now. Okay, 3 goes into 9 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. So that's 0. Because 9, take away 9 is 0. And then you have 6. And then as 3 goes into 6 2 times. So the average is 32. Okay? That's just average. That had nothing to do with the problem. It's just that that's coming soon. Just like I said, multiplication is coming soon, because once you start borrowing and adding and subtracting, you know you're going to multiply. And time makes you learn how to, telling time, excuse me, allows you the opportunity to learn how to multiply by 5s and 1s. Okay, let's check the answer. The crowd goes wild. And then stop. Okay, so let's go to the next question. And don't worry, if I get it wrong, and just like you, if you get it wrong, then we just do the extra stuff, okay? We either go try to find the answer, look at a video. They have all kinds of ways for you to earn your 3,000 or 36,000 points, I believe. Okay, now look at this. Now Ray is making a nutty trail mix. He makes a picture graph to show the 4 types of nut he uses. He uses a peanut, a cashew nut, an almond nut, and a walnut. Okay, now one of these equal a nut. So for each one of these, it equals a nut. And the thing is just stay focused on what you're reading, not from what you're seeing. Stay focused on what you hear. It says Ray is making a nutty trail mix. He makes a picture graph to show the 4 types of nuts he uses. Now, when I think of peanuts, I do not think of this. When I think of cashews, I don't think of this. When I think of almond, I don't think of this. Not when I think of almond. Yeah, when I say almond, I don't think of this. When I say cashew, I don't think of this. When I say peanut, I don't think of this. And definitely when I say walnut, I do not think of this, because these are acorns. Remember, we had already. So it says, how many total nuts does Ray use? So what you do is you have to add the nuts. So this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 3 is 8 plus 2 is 10, and 1 more is 11. Because they're asking how many nuts does Ray use. Now, another way that they would do that, maybe later when you get in the higher grades or further along in your exercises for the 3rd grade, they're going to say, how many more walnuts does Ray use than peanuts? Meaning we want you to work and subtract like that. So, but in here, you do it in here first because you have to listen to what is being said. Okay, so if these acorns equal a nut, how many total nuts does Ray use? So that means you have to count the acorns. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we did 11. Let's check. Okay. And now I'm also showing you how it it gets your mind to thinking. Okay. Okay. Which image shows an even number of cheese triangles? Now I did mean to tell you this that your child is really, and I told you before, but I'm gonna reiterate that your child is really supposed to know how to do this. Not only are they supposed to know how to sit still in class, not look and talk and all, not only that, but come test time, when it's time to do a test, your child needs to remember that he has to stay focused. Your child needs to remember that she has to stay focused. They have to stay focused. And it helps you to know whether when they're in school they're going to stay focused or not. Because you have to be honest with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself. Does your child stay focused at home? And I know I'm serious. When my little ones was in school, my oldest girl, she would get in trouble at school. And and I didn't believe them. I'm not joking. I did not believe them. I didn't. Because when we were at home, she was doing the homework. She was like getting oh, phone is ringing, but you can't hear it. She's doing homework. She at home. She was getting um all the answers right because I would go over the homework with her, etc. So when I found out from school that she wasn't bringing her homework to school, and I'm like, what? So I didn't do the normal, go to school and get upset with the teacher. I was like, I'm going to go up to school to see if she's doing. So I took a week, I believe a week off from work, and I just sat in her class with her. We went to school together. We had lunch together. Hey, Makila, is that your mom? Yeah, I didn't care. I mean, because I told her in order for you to get F's in school, you had to just not do the work. Period. I mean, just not give the work. Because see, if you do the work, that means you know it. Okay. So I'm not talking about not doing the work. I'm talking about like don't do it at all. No, not at home, not at school. And then I said, and then you have to just not go to class, right? So anyway, I think she brought an F home or something like that, and so or a letter home or something like that, saying that the grade that she was going to get if she didn't do her work. So and I was like, how in the world are you? I didn't even ask her. I just went to school with her. One day, one week, I took off. And then so I always drove her to school. So instead of her being at the door going, bye mom, you know, or, and waving to me as she before she went into the to the school, we parked the car and we went together. And then I just went to all her classes for the whole week. She got over it. Because I'm like, Lovey, raise your hand, honey. You know the answer to that. And she would have to raise her hand and answer. And so her teacher saw that she knew the work. So it wasn't like he could give her or she, I don't remember was a girl or boy teacher, a man or woman teacher, excuse me. But it wasn't like they could give her an F because they knew now that she knows the work. So they can give her extra work. And then if they didn't, why? Because I was there and she's getting all these answers correct. So if they didn't give her the extra work to take home with her to bring back, because I was there for the whole week. Yes, I was that kind of mom. And I'll call her, Lovey, you know that old dear. Come on, honey, lift your hand, dear. I didn't care. I mean, what else am I gonna call her? That's what I called her at home. Anyway, so it says which image shows an even number of cheese triangles. So in order to have an even number, the rows have to be exactly the same. You don't even have to count them. And that's what they're doing. They're teaching you sight math, and that's what algebra is. Algebra is sight math. You can look at algebra. I mean, you can just relax. And if you know the rule, it goes parentheses first. So that means everything in parentheses. And then the acronym is My Dear Aunt Sally, right? So and the real formula or to answer or whatever it's called is P for parentheses, E for exponents, then my dear Aunt Sally. So please excuse multiplication, division, adding, and subtracting. That's just the rule. Okay. So when you're looking at stuff, like if you're doing algebra, you remember. So when you're doing what you read, and in school, you don't have to read which image shows an even. No, it's because see, there needs to be one right there. There needs to be one right here. And if we, like I said, if you get it wrong, it's okay, because you're supposed to be doing this on your own. And if you remember the answers, okay, and it says choose one answer, because every now and then it'll say choose all that apply. Okay, now look at this one. Alice arranged his toy cars. Now, do you see any cars down here? See, so what they're doing is they're making you listen to what you're saying. No, not what they're saying. Listen to what you are saying. Because if you get it wrong, what you do is you go back over the same question. And in math, you read it out loud. See, this is a miniature word problem. Alex arranged his toy cars. Now, can you imagine if your third grader doesn't know what that word reads? That's why before they go to school or like during the course of dinner, or you just go over the alphabet sound song. Abba, d, e, d, hit it, j, k, l, m, n, a, p, k, s, t, v, w, x, y, and z. Now I know my alphabet sounds. Sing with me the next time around. Okay? And then the other way is A, B, S, D. And then you just make I used to make up games with that song. Okay. All right. So Alice arranged his toy cars. He put them in 3 rows with 3 cars in each row. Which image below shows how Alex arranged his toy cars? And choose one answer. So 3 rows of three with 3 cars. 3 rows or with 3 cars. See, this is like I started it, but I didn't finish, and this is not enough cars. So, and in order to do that, you have to multiply too. You have to multiply because 3 times 3 equals 9. So if you 1, 2, 3, but see, it's by it being sight math, that means that the answer is already in your head. And if your little one gets this wrong, then it's okay. Okay? All right. Hmm. Okay, now as you're going through this process, you'll notice down here that as we go over the page, it says 11 out of 30. I mean, as we go over the questions and get them correct, it says 11 out of 30. Okay, there are there were 96 books for sale at a garage sale. Arnold bought 32 books. Later, Mel bought 31 books. How many books are left at the garage sale? So you go, if you don't know, in your head, it's going to tell you that you're supposed to add 32 and 31. And yes, you can do that adding in your head. It reminds me of when the calculators first came out in my school. Well, I don't know whether they first came out, but they came to our school, and then they was teaching how to use them. And I did not know how to use a calculator because I just didn't know how to. I didn't never nobody ever told me. And so I think it was a Texas Instrument calculator. The one that has all these buttons and gadgets, but you only learn the multiplication, dividing, and the percentage and that. Anyway, so I was like, I can do this faster in my head. That's because I didn't know how to use the calculator. So evidently it was true. Okay, so you got 63, and you do the problem from the right to the left. So you add the 2 and the 1 is 3, and the 3 and 3 is 6. And then you take 63 from 96. I know you can do it in your head, but let's write it down today. And we're subtracting. So it's always good or best practice to write that symbol. Okay? 3 from 6 is 3, and 6 from 9 is, and this is how you correct a subtraction. You go 3 and 3 is 6, and 6 and 3 is 9. Okay, so there should be 33 books left. And let's see if we're correct. Okay, next question. See how big that was? That went away. Okay, which picture divides a rectangle into quarters? A quarter is, when I do this type of math, I usually start talking about algebra, the symbols of algebra. And I usually use, like, I'll hold up a piece of paper. Once I start talking about fractions, I said algebra, I meant to say fractions. I hold up a piece of paper and I ask, so what is this, everybody? And everybody, of course, says it's a piece of paper. And I'm like, no, it's $1. No, it's a piece of paper. Probably about the second or third time. I said, no, it's a piece of paper. I mean, no, it's not a piece of paper. I don't even say no, it's not a piece of paper. I usually just start doing the fraction. I say, and if you fold $1 in half, you have two squares. So you put the 2 down the bottom, and then this is the divided by sign that goes from left to the right. And this right here is 1. So you use one piece of paper, or you use $1. You fold it in half, and you have 2 squares. So that means that 50 cents is a half of $1. And they wait a minute, that's right. And then I asked, well, how do you write 50 cents? And then somebody was gonna raise their hand. Or who has 50 cents in their pocket? And then they'll, because I teach algebra to little kids on up to the 12th grade. And the reason being is because the older kids are like, and I said, if you know the answer and it seems like the little ones are not getting it, then that means that you cannot get any question I ask you wrong. Nope, you cannot do it. Because this is the basics of algebra. And as soon as I say that, everybody starts listening. Because it's true. Algebra is not a writing problem. You write it, but you can do algebra in your head. Because if you already know how to multiply, if you already know how to divide, if you already know how to add and subtract, then you can do algebra in your head. So let's scroll down. And then 4 quarters equals $1, right? Because if you have 1 quarter, 2, that's always asked for quarters. Who in here has any quarters? How many quarters do you have? I'll eventually get 4 quarters, even if I have to take it out of my own purse. And I'll just say the 4 quarters equal $1. And $1 equals, and then you do the 4, it looks like this on paper. Oops, sorry. You do 4. Oh, hold on. Did I erase? Oh, hold on. It won't let me undo it. See? And the right, wait. I thought it was gonna let me do it because the dots are there. Well, you know it's not this one because I just did a $1/2. And it says, which picture divides a rectangle into quarters? And 4 quarters, because that rectangle is 4 quarters. That means it's the long way. Like this right here is the same page, and it's sort of like a rectangle. 2 rectangles, same paper, 1 page, 2 squares equals a $1/2. 1/2. You fold that again. The same line is there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it'd be 4. Oh, 1 page. It won't be 1/4 because 1/4 is this, which is the size of 1 square. 2 is this. 1 square, 2 square. 4 is open. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's all kinds of ways for me to teach you. But right now, what we're going to do is check this answer and see if we can write. I don't know why it's not letting me write today. It doesn't like, no, it's not. Let's do the next problem. Keep it going. It says you have 18 more to go. Okay, which choices, that's not even correct English, so you can tell us wrong. Which choices describe, which choices describe the number of squares? So is it, well, count the squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, there's 2 rows of 4 or a column of 4s. Okay, and they're stacked by 2s. Okay, so 2, 4, and 6. Is that right? And it says choose 2 answers. So if you add those together, that's not right. 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. And then 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It has to equal 8. And that's one of the best parts about reading math out loud. See, when you get older, you don't read out loud that often. By the 3rd grade, you're still reading out loud, but you're not reading math out loud. So we can whisper math and we can read out loud still. Okay? So let's check. Okay, let's go to the next question. There it is. Okay. Which unit would probably be used to measure how tall a cereal box is? So would you do centimeters or meters? One of those, now this is what we have to remember. One of those is equivalent to inches, and one of those is equivalent to miles. Centimeters or meters. One is equivalent to inches, the other one is equivalent to miles. And if you need to know, let's see, what you need is a dictionary. All right. Oh, I should have did it wrong. Okay. Yeah, okay. Because it would have told us the definitions if I did it wrong. Okay. Centimeters about how wide a fingernail is, and meters is about how long a guitar is. So one of them is bigger than the other. Of course, I tried to explain it. The bigger picture. Okay, which unit will probably be used? That's the correct, and it gives us the answer, and it tells why. 1 of 3. Measure and length. Centimeters is about how wide a fingernail is, which is that one from here to here. And a meter is how long a guitar is, or how long your arm is in comparison. Okay? Which of these will probably be used to measure how tall a cereal box is? Centimeters will probably be used to measure how tall a cereal box is. And this is if we ever got any wrong, okay? And the reason I'm showing you this part is because we're about ready to stop. See, a centimeter is 1,000 equals 1 meter. A meter is inches. Like, they also have milliliters, and which is water, because remember, if it's a liter of water. So, but to convert them is awesome. And you're seeing how we're getting a sense of meters and centimeters. So if we play this video right here, then we'll get points. And then you see how I went back to second grade measuring units of length. So with Khan Academy, it adds on. It keeps going, keeps going, keeps going. I don't know if you know that or not, but it adds on to itself. That's how come I use Khan Academy, because what they taught you in the kindergarten, the first grade, the second grade, they're still going to add to it in the third grade. Because if you remember, I said the test goes back to, is a review of the second grade. So it's what you remember from the second grade that will help you to go on with what you're doing. So let's look at this video so we can get some more points.
In this video, I'm going to talk about a unit of length known as the meter, which you might have heard of before. It's really probably the most used unit of length in the world. And so the natural question is, how long is a meter? Well, one way to get a rough sense of a meter is imagine a reasonably tall basketball player. So a good bit taller than your average man. So a good bit taller than me. I'm about average height. So that's your basketball player there. He's got his basketball. He might be roughly 2 meters tall. So this would be 2 meters. 1 meter, and this lowercase m is short for meter, and then 2 meters. Another way to think about a meter is if you took a long step, if you're, let's say, 7 or 8 years old, and if you were to take a long step, you might travel about a meter. So that's your long step right over there. It might be close to a meter, roughly. It's not necessarily going to be exactly a meter, but it might be close. Now, a related unit of length is known as the centimeter. And you might already recognize that it has the word meter in it, and it also has the word centi. Now, you might already know the word cent. A cent, 100 cents make a dollar. You might know the word century. That's 100 years. So you might say, is this 100 meters? You'd be kind of close, but kind of far off. It's not 100 meters. It's not bigger than a meter. It's actually a lot smaller than a meter. A centimeter, 100 of them, will equal 1 meter. So one way to think about it is, if I write it in shorthand, 100, and you normally write it as lowercase c and m, so 100 centimeters are equal to 1 meter. So on these pictures right over here, a centimeter would be much smaller than a meter right over there. Even what I just drew there, would be a lot less than a centimeter. And one way to think about a centimeter, it might be if you stick your finger out, your finger, depending on how large your finger is, might be about a centimeter wide. As a grown average sized man, my finger is actually about 2 centimeters wide. If I take my index finger and if I were to measure it, I would approximate it as about 2 centimeters. So 100 centimeters make up a meter, which hopefully makes a little bit of sense to you. Now, given what we've just learned about meters and centimeters, let's think about what is better to measure with, depending on the size of the thing. So if I was looking at a, let's say, a fairly tall tree of some kind, what would I want to measure that with? Would I be more likely to measure that in meters, or would I be more likely to measure that in centimeters? Pause this video and think about that. Well, a fairly tall tree is going to be a lot.
We're just thinking. Uh,
Taller than even this basketball player. So normally people are likely to measure this in meters. A reasonably tall tree could be 10 meters or 20 meters or even in certain cases 30 meters or taller. Now, what if I were instead measuring the length of a mouse? So my best drawing of a mouse here, draws a little paws. Kind of looks like a fish with a tail. But let's say that this is a mouse. Would I measure this in meters or centimeters? Well, a mouse is much smaller in length than a tree is tall. So you would likely measure this in centimeters. A small mouse, I should say, might be maybe 5 or 10 centimeters in length, right over here. Now, let's compare another way, or decide another way to think about whether we're measuring in centimeters or meters. Let's say that I went to the local gymnasium, and there's a pool there. There's a pool. That's the water in the pool. And I were to measure the length. And I know it is 25 something. It's either 25 meters or 25 centimeters. Remember, this is the pool at the gym. Pause this video. Do you think this would be 25 centimeters or 25 meters?
You think it'll be meters or centimeters? And you see how he's teaching? He's asking a question, and he's answering it, but he's telling us to pause the video. This is the way that I like to teach the one-on-one courses. When I go over the course challenges, they have reading course challenges, writing course challenges, not handwriting, but the little writing like nouns, proverbs, nouns, pronouns, verbs, proverbs. Anyway, okay, so the answer he's looking for is it considered meters that you're going to be measuring with, or centimeters? Centimeters, of course, you would use a little teeny, like it would take you could, but it would take, and if it's 25 of those, 25 centimeters, it would be short, because 100 meters 100 centimeters equal a meter. So if it was 25 centimeters, it would be not even a meter, because 100 little would be in there. Okay, so it should be, you measure with a meter, by meters.
Well, as you can imagine, the length of a pool, this tall basketball player, many of them could lie down end to end to get to this length of this pool. So this would be a 25-meter pool. A 25 centimeter pool, that would be maybe, that actually would probably be about the size of a cell phone, or maybe smaller or a little bit larger, depending on the cell phone that you're talking about. So for a pool, you'd be talking in terms of meters. What if we had a building of some kind? So this is a building right over here. And let's say it is a 3-story, or let's call it's a 4-story building. And someone were to say that it is 15 something tall. Would this be 15 meters tall or 15 centimeters tall? Well, 15 centimeters, that might be a Lego building. A real building would be 15 meters in this scenario. Now, what if I were to say the length of my thumb, right over here, and I know it is 5 something, this length right over here.
So you already did that
something.
one.
It's either 5 meters or 5 centimeters. Which one do you think it is? Well, if it was 5 meters, I would be a very, very, very large giant. My thumb would be twice as tall, or more than twice as tall, as a fairly tall basketball player. So this would be 5.
You have to hold it on his shoulder to hold it up.
Right over here. So hopefully that gives you a sense of meters and centimeters. And on Khan Academy, there's a lot more practice, so you can get a little bit more sense of estimating with these, or thinking about when one unit or the other is more
Must be
appropriate.
great. Go off. Yep. Cause see, it gave us the check. So you get your points, and then here's some practices and getting a sense of inches and feet, and practices units of length, inches and feet, like that. So it's a continuum of learning with Khan Academy. This is one of the reasons why I like going over Khan Academy with youth, and to get an idea where they are. And some young people that are in the second and first grade, I haven't done a kindergartner yet, are up to this level. Because usually when I do kindergarten, I usually take them from off the grid, and then I put them on Khan Academy Kids, where you have the cell phone and like that. All right. So we're going to stop sharing right now. So that means that we're going to go off. So this is Miss Janice, and I trust that you enjoyed this video. And if you did, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, please help me continually make the videos. I did the course challenge. I explained to you that when you do the challenge, it's the courses that you've taken before you've gotten to that grade. So if you do a 10th grade course challenge, 5th grade course challenge, that means they're giving you 4th grade work, that which you should have known. If you don't know it, then just go back, figure out what you missed. And that's what I like to do here. If we've missed something, then we go back. But you see, we're already back. So it's no need yet to go over um, um, second grade, because that's why we're taking this challenge. All right. I hope you all enjoyed this video. You give it a thumbs up. Say, hey, Miss Janice, thank you very much. You can text me 505-695-2647. Doesn't matter what grade your child is in. It doesn't matter. 10th, 11th, 12th, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, or 9th. Just text me and ask me any of the questions. I'll look for it. There's a search engine on Khan Academy for you to look for the grade that your child is in and what they offer, and they even offer college math. So, all right, bye for now.